Pathways to the Inner Realm. In this video, Neville Goddard introduces the principle of intentional living. When you consciously set your intentions within your inner self, it inevitably manifests in your external self and the physical world around you. Ideas carry power when deeply felt, initiating an internal motion influenced by self-motivation. In contrast, external motion is often driven by compulsion. This profound insight will be unveiled in the video for a deeper comprehension. I recommend watching it until the end, as it holds valuable insights. Before proceeding, please show your support by liking the video to maximize its reach. Subscribe to the channel, and if you find this video beneficial, share it with at least one person you know, contributing to illuminate the lives of others, just as it has done for you. Gratitude to all. The movements within determine the external manifestations, aligning to bring about a corresponding external motion. The actions of the internal self act as the driving force behind all external events. External motion is subject to the influence exerted upon it by the movements of the internal self. Imagination constructs scenarios. It unites when the actions of the internal self harmonize with the deeds the external physical self must execute to fulfill desire. That desire will be realized, and conflicts arise within. The Lord spoke, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples from within you will be separated. One will surpass the other, and the greater will serve the lesser. Duality is an inherent aspect of life. Everything existing is dual. Man embodies duality with conflicting principles ingrained in his nature, contending within, presenting contrasting attitudes toward life. This conflict represents the eternal endeavor, the celestial battle, the perpetual struggle of the inner or imaginative self to establish dominance over the outer or sensory self. The first will be last, and the last will be first. He who comes after me is preferred before me. The second man is the Lord from heaven. Man begins to awaken to imaginative life when he recognizes the presence of other entities within himself. In his being, 2 nations, opposing races, coexist from birth. One dominion must prevail over the older reign. Each individual possesses 2 distinct centers of thought or perspectives about the world. The Bible refers to these as natural and spiritual. The natural man cannot grasp the things of the Spirit of God. They seem foolish to him, as he lacks the spiritual discernment to comprehend them. The internal body of man is as tangible in the realm of subjective experience as his external physical body is in the world of objective realities. However, the internal body represents a more fundamental aspect of reality. This existing internal body must be consciously activated and guided. The inner realm of thought and emotion, to which the internal body is attuned, has its own genuine structure and exists in its elevated space. There are 2 types of motion, one aligning with the internal body and the other conforming to the external body. Motion in harmony with the internal body is causal, while external motion is propelled by compulsion. The internal movements dictate the external, converging to produce analogous actions that mirror the movements of the internal body. The internal force is the catalyst behind all occurrences. External motion is compelled by the movement of the internal body. When the actions of the internal body align with what the external body needs to execute to fulfill desire, that desire becomes a reality. Create a mental scenario implying the fulfillment of your desire, involving self-directed movement. Keep your physical self still, as if taking a nap, and initiate the predetermined action within your imagination. The vivid portrayal of the action is the inception of that action. As you drift into sleep, consciously picture yourself in the envisioned scene. The duration of sleep is not critical, a brief nap suffices. Bringing the action into the realm of sleep transforms imagination into reality. Initially, your thoughts may wander like sheep without a shepherd. Don't be disheartened if your focus deviates repeatedly. Bring it back persistently to your predetermined path until, through sheer persistence, it adheres to the designated course. The inner journey should never lack direction. While traversing the inner path, enact what you mentally rehearsed beforehand. Proceed toward the prize you've already seen, comprehended, accepted, or touched. Professor John Livingston Lowes asserts, but for a long time, I have had the feeling that this study has matured into a conviction that fancy and imagination are not 2 powers but one. The valid distinction between them lies not in the materials with which they operate but in the degree of intensity of the operating power itself. Working at high tension, the imaginative energy assimilates and transmutes the same low energy that fancies and unites those images that, at its highest pitch, merge indissolubly into one. Applying this theory practically, consider a blind girl in San Francisco who, a year ago, grappled with a transportation challenge involving 3 bus transfers, turning her 15-minute commute into 2 hours and 15 minutes. Contemplating a solution, she envisioned a car as the answer, despite her inability to drive. Testing the theory that desire becomes reality when inner and outer actions align, she affirmed, "I'll sit here and imagine being taken to my office." Seated in her living room, she immersed herself in the imagined experience of being in a car. Sensing the engine's rhythm, envisioning the smell of gasoline, feeling the car's movement, touching the driver's sleeve, and perceiving the driver as a man, she felt the car come to a stop. Addressing her companion, she expressed gratitude, and he reciprocated. Exiting the car, she closed the door, entering the imaginative cityscape of her ride, despite her blindness. It wasn't merely contemplation, it was thinking from the ride and all its implications. This intentionally subjective, controlled, and directed mental journey amplified the power of her imagination. She maintained emotional continuity, ensuring that the emotions of fulfilled desire, expectation, and aspiration seamlessly transition from a mental state to a physical act. The inner self navigates the predetermined path more effectively when emotions are engaged. Activation of the inner self is most potent when fueled by thoughts of significant achievements and personal gains, deriving pleasure from these mental actions. The blind girl, over 2 consecutive days, engaged in her imagined car rides, infusing them with joy and sensory vividness akin to reality. Shortly after her second mental journey, she encountered a story in the evening newspaper about a man interested in assisting blind individuals. Seizing the opportunity, she shared her transportation challenge with him. Subsequently, during an evening visit to a bar, she felt compelled to recount her story to the bar owner. A stranger, upon hearing the narrative, volunteered to chauffeur the blind girl home daily. The individual who initially shared the story proposed, "If you take her home, I'll take her to work." Since that day, these 2 gentlemen have been escorting the blind girl to and from her office. Instead of enduring a 2-hour and 15-minute journey on 3 buses, she now reaches her office in less than 15 minutes. During her first ride to work, she expressed gratitude to her Good Samaritan, who replied, "The pleasure is all mine." Thus, the objects of her imagination became tangible realities, with their physical manifestation serving as mere confirmation. The driving force and determining factor were rooted in her imaginative journey. While her triumph may surprise those unfamiliar with her inner voyage, she vividly visualized the city from that mental ride, granting each aspect of the urban landscape a distinct identity. These internal movements not only induce corresponding external actions, they embody the universal law governing all physical manifestations. Consistent practice of these bilocation exercises cultivates extraordinary powers of concentration and inner stillness, inevitably leading to heightened awareness in the expansive internal dimension. By sensing the city with the conviction of her desire fulfilled, she aligned with the desired state, bestowing upon herself what slumbering individuals beseech God to achieve. For a desire to materialize, it must first initiate in one's imagination, surpassing the limitations of sensory evidence. Incorporating the inner self's movement, suggesting the realization of your desire whenever the actions of the outer self align with the fulfillment of that desire, it will come to fruition. The motion of every visible object is not triggered by external factors but by internal forces working from inside out. The journey unfolds within yourself as you navigate the paths of the inner world. Without internal movement, the creation of anything is unattainable. Inner action embodies introspective sensation. If you construct a mental scenario portraying the attainment of your objective, then close your eyes, turn your thoughts inward, immerse your imagination in the predetermined action, actively participating in it, you evolve into a self-determined being. Inner action orchestrates all things according to its inherent nature. Test it out. verify if the envisioned ideal, once articulated, is achievable, as only through this experimental process can you uncover your potentials. This is the realization of the creative principle. Thus, the essence of intentional living lies in directing your imagination toward the action and the sensation of desire fulfilled, with such mindfulness and sensitivity that you set in motion the inner world. Ideas materialize when genuinely felt, arousing internal movement driven by self-motivation, in contrast to external movement influenced by compulsion. Where you place the sole of your foot, I will give it to you. Remember, the Lord your God is mighty within you. I trust this content has brought value to you, offering meaningful insights. My objective with this channel is to contribute to your financial well-being, rooted in the power of the mind, naturally. Yet, I consistently underscore the importance of inspired action. Only when inspired action aligns with the feeling of desire fulfilled can tangible results be manifested. If you found this beneficial, please leave a like and subscribe, supporting our channel's growth and enabling the spread of enlightenment to many lives, just like yours. Sending warm regards, and until the next video.